The Fountain County Council meeting for October 12th. Everyone had a chance to look over your minutes from the September 13th meeting. Is there any additions or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the minutes? Jim Lee, second. Dale, all those in favor? Is everyone at that meeting? Yes, okay, so 7-0. Review and acknowledge treasurer's bank reconciliation monthly comparison report of funds for August 2021. Is there a motion to acknowledge those?
I will.
Okay, Tom, second. Bill, all those in favor? 7-0. Report of collections is submitted from ambulance clerk, health department reporter, and sheriff for August 2021. Is there a motion to acknowledge the report of collections is submitted? Kelly, second. Tom, all those in favor? 7-0. Okay, let's move to those people have got things they need to do today. So let's move to Ready Grant Greenway Project. Dale?
Yeah, I'm going to turn it over to Stan Lambert of the Wabash Enhancement River Corporation and Greenway Project. So he's going to just do a 5 to 7 minute recap overview, and I'll just have a couple minutes afterwards and we'll be on our way.
Thank you for giving me time. I'll try and keep it brief too, but wave at me if I'm stuck with run on. I'm Stan Lambert, the Executive Director for the Wabash River Corporation, based up in Lafayette, West Lafayette. We are working on a project through the Wabash Parkland Innovation Network to develop a Wabash River Greenway that will connect through 5 river counties that are in the wind region. And that's Fountain, Warren, New Carroll, and Cass counties. And so part of that project we've been working on is to develop that overall greenway system that connects these 5 counties. But we also, when the READY initiative was announced by the governor last year, we had already been working on developing a set of pilot projects identified in each county also. And so we've been really focused on developing the pilot projects in each county to be able to be submitted as part of the READY project. And so we've got pilot project in each of the 5 counties put together. Well, 4 counties, Cass County, Kokomo, and Howard County. So we have been working on their pilot project directly as part of the READY project. So we are here today to seek to get local funding that we can submit as part of the READY application as it moves forward to develop the Wabash River Greenway Lane of Circle Trail here in Covington. But long term, this is just the first project of that Wabash River Greenway system, which is going to develop the trail system that will connect Covington, Attica, Williamsport. We also are starting to look at ways we can reach out as part of the Greenway system is to connect to the outer wind counties. So we need to be able to connect from the river corridor spine of the system out to Montgomery County, Benton County, White County. And so one of those counties we've really been trying to work on is to be able to get over to Montgomery County. And so that's where we're looking at ways that we can reach out, connect up to Petersburg, and then on over to Montgomery County. So this project is focused in Covington right now, but the entire master plan is going to look at ways to connect Petersburg and other parts of the county to the Greenway and to the other wind region counties. The even bigger picture is this is the trail system, visionary trail system that the state of Indiana has identified in its trail master plan. And so as we're looking at that, and right down here is where Covington is, there's a big gap in here. So we want to, the Wabash River Greenway will connect this on down to our goal is to get all the way down to Terre Haute eventually, but all the way down to Covington here. And so that will connect that up. It will also provide us with opportunities to if we connect over to Montgomery County, get Sugar Creek, that's going to provide other ways to connect up, that'll bring in visitors from out of town. So we're creating a really high quality trail system and recreation facility for our local residents, but it's going to attract visitors and tourists from all over the state and all over the region to a really nationally significant regional trail system. So if you have any additional questions, try to keep it really short.
That's good. Thank you. Thank you, Stan. Stan didn't have the bad knees. That's why he's a mini marathoner. What I just wanted to say was that Stan was mentioned as part of the Wabash River Greenway project, that the Covington project in Five Crossing Park is one of their pilot projects. Prior to me even knowing Stan, that was the last phase of the Covington Circle Trail project, was Five Crossings Park. And so it just so has happened that now that state funding is becoming available, we have an additional source of funding, hopefully from the state, to help us in that process. And so I lean on Stan a lot because of his expertise and his background in recreation and parks and in trail systems. And so it was probably then 1st of August, I believe, where we talked to some of the commissioners about the READY grant. They gave us their support to go forward to submitting an application to the READY committee that's based out of the greater Lafayette area. And then we came back to you and talked about a month ago about the project, and that we would be back, or I would be back, asking for $450,000 for the project. We went to the commissioners meeting. I believe that was on September 20th, got their support for their project. And so I think they voted 3-0. After that, and after I was at your last meeting, I met with 5 of you personally. I met with one of you over the phone to answer any of your questions, give you some literature for the project. I wanted to make sure that you had all the information that you could have at this time in regards to the project. And so I'm back here today. I know what my grant making process is at the Community Foundation. We have a grant application that we go through with a series of questions that we have to answer. I don't know that the county has that. And so we're here today, or I'm here to ask for the council's commitment of $450,000 for the trail project that is within Five Crossings Park.
And Dale, just reiterate that it's not just we're paying that all in 1 year, it's going to be spread out.
Yeah, that's how you want to do it. And we're just looking for your commitment. We don't have the grant yet, so we don't need the money. So we just need your commitment for when the final papers are submitted, that the Community Foundation has committed $450,000. The county government entities, whoever is responsible, has committed $450,000 to put us in a position to receive $450,000 through the READY grant competitive process. So yeah, that could be 2 payments of $225,000 each at a predetermined date.
So the commissioners voted to request those funds from,
Commissioners voted to proceed forward. We were in favor of using funds, but it was up to the council as far as what funds. So we're fine with moving forward. I think there was some hesitancy with council. You guys had some questions. They on stage spoke, they're back again. So if there's any concerns, now time to get commissioners on board to use funds.
because I haven't seen anything from commissioners that said they're requesting it from the council.
Well, in our last minutes, maybe it's how it was worded. And like I said, I wasn't here. So part of it was cut off, but we talked together. And if we need to make that motion at our next meeting, I'm sure that we'll not be a problem.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not even been advertised, right?
No, I haven't.
So, I
advertised.
mean-
Well, we haven't No, we haven't gone for the
They
additional
just-
appropriation. We just want to make sure you're on board before submitting the paperwork for this Ready grant, and they compiled everything and submitted the information from the other counties as far as.
The minutes from 9:20, we don't write the minutes. You know, Bonnie and Colleen write the minutes, so I don't know what wording you have to have in the minutes.
September, we did.
But they would have been reported, I believe. It's a,
Right, basically, the motion, as I remember, it was just that they were willing to move forward with the project. They did not ask for money. They did not ask for an additional. And that's
So
how
I
it's
guess
written
we
in
need
it.
to know legally whether we can do anything until they ask for additional funds.
Well, I think the problem was, we didn't feel like we were getting council support on spending funds. And that's why Dale and Stan came. All we could do was say, yes, we are willing to move forward, and like I said, I thought back, way back, when we first started in August, that we were in favor of using funds, but we had to get your permission to do that. So I understand what you're saying, Dudley, you know, it's like, if us commissioners need to make a motion that we're willing to spend funds, I guess we need to know, do we have to know what funds, or can we just say willing to spend?
You know, I think what we've done and everything else in the past is you just ask for additional funds and then
Right.
if we
But I don't
approve it,
think
we
were
can
needing-
say,
I don't think we were at that point of needing those funds yet, so we did not do that. Because that's the.
I want to hear what everyone else has to say, whether you think we commissioners need to request the additional funds first before we act, or
I mean, are you okay, council okay with moving forward on spending funds? And then you can, once we make our motion, then you guys can decide, because it's gonna have to be advertised. I don't know what fund you're wanting to advertise all this in, and like Dale said, are you just gonna do half of it now and halfway? Because I wasn't sure we were at that point yet, I guess.
I was at the meeting, so was Bill. And Dale came to that meeting asking if the council did not support it, would the commissioners still be in favor of continuing the project? And at the time, the commissioner said they were, and they would look into it to see how they could go about this. I don't know if funds were mentioned. I may not have heard that word. But I think what Dale came to find out if he had support from the commissioners to do some of this. And so, Bill, is that correct? Is that how you looked at it? But where they're gonna get funds and things like that, I don't know what that is going to be about. Because I questioned myself where you were going to go to get those funds. That's all.
I know it was brought up, and I don't think we can use ARP funds, so, you know, let's push that aside. So what other funds, you know, can we use? Since commissioners do not control all those funds, you know, we do look to you.
Why can't ARP funds be used?
Well, can't be used for like certain infrastructure.
I think
They,
they recently amended that, and what significantly broadened with. Potentially, I think.
and not the whole amount, maybe a portion of it, and that's where I talked to Jake German, and I need to talk to them again. Maybe later this week, I'll see him, and sure, you know, look into that, and I think the council will probably be in favor of if we can use ARP funds, so that we aren't using too far.
I think Carol's got a comment. So,
Is there any way of knowing how many people use this? I mean, when I think of a trail, I think of Delphi Girl.
I use the walking trail.
Have you used the whole 10 miles or what?
I use the whole 7 miles by myself.
That,
One person.
That section of trail up in Delphi, that section of trail up in Delphi was not, they just recently got part of that trail, the girls would walk out on it, across the railroad bridge that was, the trail organization had taken ownership of, but it was not formally open. I mean, it was not safe to actually walk over. And it was out into an area that was really not formally a part of their new trail system. There's kind of an apple for the orange situation. It was a tragic situation, but it was really in the trail system of Delphi. It's a future part of it, it's going to be developed, but it's not, hadn't really been developed yet. It's in a part that has a lot of use on it.
My purpose of coming to the commissioner meeting was to gauge support. So Dudley's done. My purpose of coming to the commissioners meeting was to gauge their support for the project. They were supportive of the project, and they, I believe the minister encouraged the county to match what the community foundation is putting into the project that you read the commissioners minutes. So I was asked to come to the council meeting because you sign off on the funding for the project. So I came and did what county said I needed to do for the project. You asked us to come back to another meeting to do the same thing. So I'm here doing that again. I'm just, as a layperson and a citizen of Fountain County who supports, who works with thousands of donors who give and wanted to see this project work. I'm surprised how confusing the process is to get an answer to what we're trying to accomplish. And I don't know who has that answer or what the process is.
I'm not sure I have an answer, Dale. I know where you're going, and what you're searching for, and that's money, and somebody to commit that money in a year or 2 years or whatever. I have a question. Can we return to that first graph that you have?
Sure.
The very first one, because you have a space in there, and that's the 5 crossings. Yeah. And Dale, I think you and I talked about the same thing. There's a gap down there.
Yeah, right down here.
Yeah. I want to start all the way back at the top there. And I remember you talking last time about watersheds and things like that.
Yeah.
Here we just had a lot of rain. We also talked about the debris that may end up on our banks down here. And there's a time that we're going to have to maintain that. I got a question about time. What kind of time are we looking at to complete this trail? 5 years, 2 years?
The 5 Arch Trail,
Yeah.
well, that'll be done probably a construction season. Once the funding's in place and the design will take 6 months.
2022.
Do we have all the funding except here?
If we get the ready grant. Yes.
So when will we know? When will Fountain County know?
Tentatively, what we are being told is we'll know by the end of December if we get that ready grant.
So February was a key month, as you said last time, to receive money, right? February, to really commit. We got $450,000 to this grant from Fountain County. Is that correct? I think that's what you said last
Say
time.
what, say this again?
Well, February was supposed to be the key point for us to, I thought, designate $450,000. We could do $200,000 this year and $200,000 next year.
I'm not sure.
Is that right?
I'm not sure of the month of February. Now, for the ready project, they want the project to be done typically in 2 to 3 year period. So if we're asking for $450,000, it can be broke out over a 2 or 3 year period. But I don't know where the February one came.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Maybe I got the wrong month.
But until they're supposed to make a decision and award in December, and the funds are supposed to come available almost immediately there in January, February, maybe that's where it came in. The ready funds would be available early in 22 that we could start on this project. First thing we need to do is start the planning process, get the trail plan. And we've got a contract, because we've already raised other funds to get the planning part done. $75,000 from North Central Health Services, and then 50 some from sources inside the foundation to get the planning done. But we're kind of waiting to see if we've got construction monies now through the Ready project for that. But yeah, the 450, you could prove 225 for 2022 and 225 for 2023.
And the other thing I had was, what's this gonna look like? I mean, we got a trail, 90 miles, right? What are we gonna look like?
Well, the trail is gonna be made up, some of it's gonna be signed routes using county roads. Some of it's gonna be side paths, 10-foot wide trail along the road. Some of it will be standalone trail off of the road. Some of it will be maybe striped along the road if there's enough road right of way, enough hard surface. So it's gonna be a system of different types of routes that'll connect. That'll provide bikers, hikers, depending. It's going to connect up with niches properties here in Fountain County. It's going to connect up to various parks, whether it's city parks, county parks, and they'll tie those up and provide a signed route way to connect and people to get around the corridor and connect up the Greenway from both sides of the river to each other and to the river.
When you come around from Petersburg down to Petersburg and over and try to connect Attica, right?
Yeah, that'd be a great triangle that you could go from Attica to Covington, Petersburg to Attica. If we could get that route figured out. But we don't have that route figured out yet. There's some things we're looking at. There's an abandoned rail corridor that is still owned by a railroad that starts in the very southwestern corner of Fountain County that angles up towards Petersburg. And we want to start exploring that and find out what that potential is for that.
Where's that money gonna come from?
That'll come from sources such as the state of Indiana has allocated $60 million in the 2-year budget that started July 1st of this year. So that's a source. There's other federal sources out there. There's North Central Health Services that is always looking for sources and looks for my organization to help provide those opportunities for them to help fund quality of life and public health with facilities, and that's what a trail does. It provides opportunity for people to get out and walk safely. But there are lots of different opportunities. He's always going to be somebody that will come to for funding here.
Well, we have 5 miles of the trail done in Covington. We've raised over $5 million for that purpose. A combination of state grants, federal grants, private fundraising. It's just, this is the first time we've come to the county for funding.
There's a state recreational trail fund program. There's Land Water Conservation Fund program, which raised its grant levels up to 500,250. Now there's a bunch of different sources out there. As we move forward into planning, we'll start seeing what those grants are, what's available out there, and start pulling things together. We can't say it's going to definitely come from this or this. It'll come at when we get to a project. We'll be looking at what sources are out there and put those together. But I know North Central Health Services is a really strong champion of the Greenway project. They've already provided $774,940 towards the planning of that corridor master plan. Up in Tippecanoe County, they provided us with close to $9 million already for our work up in Tippecanoe County. We're a little bit farther ahead than we are in the rest of the other four counties. So we know NCHS really sees the value of this project, 1 for community development and 2 for public health.
Tippecanoe County got into it. I mean, they're ready to go with it. They are ready.
Yes.
They pay, right? In other words, they got the grant, they're matching up.
Yeah.
They're matching up with it.
Yes. Yeah, we have a $5.7 million project that we spent in Tippecanoe County, and we have of that, we're asking for 2.7 from Ready, and we've got $3 million committed from NDO funds for the other $3 million that's needed for that project. We have projects in Carroll County and in Warren County, and all those have their committed funds. Also.
Okay, here's my dilemma. We don't have an attorney like the commissioners do, but what I go by is we have to have a public hearing on additional appropriations, which we have 10 on here that the commissioners have sent to us asking for additional appropriations. This is not on our agenda. Commissioners haven't asked for additional appropriations for this amount. And I don't think legally we can, we can vote on it until it's been advertised and we have a public hearing and.
Could we vote on supporting the project and come back and get into the process we need to then?
I think all they're wanting, and I think at this time, after talking to Tom, Paul now, they haven't actually given money. What they got from the council is a commitment that they are willing to give the $450,000. Then when it comes time to do the additional appropriation, because are you guys getting any of the money yet? Or is it just people committed?
Well, like for the Tiffany County project, that money, that $3 million has already been dead in formal payments.
So you actually got the money.
I don't have much, it's gonna go to bid in January. The
Okay.
money is committed so that they can go to bid in January.
I think they're just needing a commitment from the council, not additional appropriation, just a commitment that you are willing to find funding for that dollar amount. And then when it comes close to time for going to the additional appropriations, the commissioners will certainly, move forward, but we need to know what funds. I think that's our hang up. We don't know what
County
funds.
general is the only thing there's no money in any other funds that would cover
I
that
mean, yeah,
amount,
you could use a
so.
little bit, if you're wanting to do away with some of those funds, whether it's county general Davis.
That will be zero
Okay.
by the end of this year. There's no funding comes into that,
I know
so
there's one.
we might as well. I've told Colleen, we're gonna just close that account out because we get no income to that. Once we've spent that money, and that's what we've been spending these additionals on now. I mean, it's down to $137,000.
So if we can use
So-
county general fund and then possibly entertain about using some ARP funding. if The council would be, make a motion to commit to that, and then we can have, when it comes closer time to do the additional, then Colleen can advertise those appropriate funds. Like I said.
Okay.
Like I will use county general, and then if the argument is able to do ARP, we can certainly do a claim adjustment if funds are spent.
And you can check on with Jake about using ARP money. So basically, you just want to
I just
A
want
vote
to
from the
commit
commission-
to
council that
people are willing
would
to
be
spend
in-
funds.
Okay, anyone want to make a motion for that?
My question for Dale, if
No.
you're not awarded the grant from the state for the septic project, is the county still out $450 or do we get that money back? After it's been advertised and all that, the county has committed those $450,000.
There's nothing for us to give back to the county with this thing.
Right.
They're not gonna give the money until the project is signed. and sealed.
Contract signed.
Brenda, I'm reading on the treasury.gov about the ARP funds. And I think I know where you're getting it from. You can possibly use it because they're calling this a public health situation, mental or physical.
Health, wellness, economic development.
So that's one of the things that's listed here is that to support the public health. So there may be a possibility that a portion of ARP money could be used. for
I just
that.
know that 100% not used. So if we can at least commit before bidding and then work out the details.
To break
We've
down.
got some time to work that.
But the 450 is not 100% of their project, so maybe.
Well, 450, we have to match the grant, 400,000. So of that 400,000 grant amount that we're going after, we can't use 400,000 ARP. That's possible.
And what's the other 50,000 for?
Well, that's what they need to
When?
finish it because, no, because the project is what, 1 point river. And
We're
so
requesting for
the foundation is willing to give their portion, 400 for the grant, and then the county's gonna have to do the rest.
So it's a three-part commitment. then, correct?
So I just need commitment from the council, and then the commissioners, certainly when we get ready to release funds, if it is selected, then we can do that. But we wanted the council on board and your support.
Is there a motion to support them?
I make a motion to support him and come up with a way to pay for it after the first year.
Is there a second?
I would support. But I want the time to, like Dale, he wants to find a way to come up with the money after the first year. It'll take that much time, I think. For us to see down the road, because we have other obligations. I think it would be economically looking good. Except for one thing, I think that when we say that, then we got to make sure that our obligation is $450,000. And that's where I sat. And if we can find a way and we could kind of stagger that over a period of time, I could see it. But if it's going to be a quick stagger after you commit 450, hey, we need that in 6 months. I think that could be a problem. And that's what you're thinking. Are you thinking that way, Dudley? Or why? I don't know, because we'd like to support something that's, that's community-wise throughout the state, if we can connect it. But I don't like to see something that's going to not be connected from Petersburg to Attica over a period of 20 years. I'm not looking at that, okay? I'm looking at something that we can get a return. And you can see $450,000 that's being used.
It's kind of like when Fountain County was organized, there had to be the first road, and then you had the second road, and then you had the third road. But you had to start with the road. And so that's really what this is that you're either committing to the trails in general or you're not. And that's okay. I'm just here to find out. Yeah. And to make the plea on behalf of hundreds of donors who'd like to see the trail supported. And the answer to Carol's question, on Saturday, I was on the trail for 45 minutes and I asked 8 walkers and 5 bicycles in 45 minutes. And I wasn't running.
And say, okay.
And
Then
I
we
just
say,
write it that
down the
allow
road.
their families,
we
bicycling.
can accommodate $400,000.
If we have the money, yes,
If we have that money.
yes. But we're not committing the money
Yeah.
today, so.
Dale, I just have a question. How did you determine this was the project that you wanted to go for the ready versus any other project?
We had been working on identifying pilot projects through Wabash River Greenwood project, County project. For a pilot project, it needs to be shovel ready, it needs to have local support. There need to be funding or sources for funding in place. And we had already identified the Wabash River Greenway Lake and Circle Trail project as a pilot project here in Fountain County. There was already planning in place. Dale and I had already started working on getting funding put together to do the engineering and design work for that. Dale felt that there was some funding that he could have to the foundation. We'd like to go back to North Central Health Services in a year or two. And we thought that this was the project that would be the most shovel-ready, most easily completed project in Fountain. Get the project
Time-wise and everything?
Well, it was real easy because to complete the trail loop, it's in the county park.
Mhm.
So all I'm trying to do is to enhance a 22-acre area that is already under control of the county. I'm not trying to create a new park. Rusty was actually here when the first act went in on the trail and put the culverts in down on the river. So we're enhancing a county park that is already here. We're not developing a new park. We're not creating a new park. We're not doing anything like, it's enhancing a park that's been there for 26 years, but has not had funding.
Okay, so let me ask you about the funding. In the last meeting, which I was on Zoom, wasn't here, and that is, I hate doing that. I'd rather be in the presence of everyone else. You were asking for 450, and you wanted a commitment from the council, and this 450 would be over 2 years. Is that correct? So you wanted 450 total in the
Here's the
next
deal.
2 years. Okay.
If construction takes place in 2022, we would prefer to have all the money. The
Right.
foundation can probably find additional sources to cover if we need money soon.
But if we would get the ready funds that say they were released in January or February, we would get the design done over the winter, early spring here, so construction could go out to bid sometime in the summer. Chances are, that construction would wrap around into the winter, maybe into early next year. I mean,
So according to your map, this is eventually going to run its way up to Adigan and connect on to Lockett. Is that the idea behind
That's
that?
long range. What we're talking about here is just this section connects the south end of Circle Trail to the north end. Yeah, that'll be a
Right,
part
but
of
I'm
the-
looking into the future because I'm like
Yeah.
Tom, I'm looking at, eventually you're gonna make a presence again to the council asking for additional funds again to start the project going north.
That, and there's also the abandoned rail bridge that we've been investigating.
Right,
And the section of rail that starts on the Warren County side of that rail bridge up to State Route 136 is actually owned by the city of Crawfordsville. And how that came to be was back in the 1990s, Crawfordsville Parks and Recreation Department started their project to develop one of the first rail trails, turning an old rail corridor into a trail. And to do that, they started a 501c3 nonprofit to work with the railroad and to buy the railroad corridor in Montgomery County from the railroad. They only bought about 8 miles of it. And I'm not sure how it happened, but when they bought that 8 miles, that section up there in Morgan County got thrown into it. Well, that 501c3 dissolved back in 2017. And they turned all their assets over to the city of Crawfordsville. We've had a couple of initial conversations with Crawfordsville. Sounds like they're willing to either sell it really cheap or even donate that to us. So that would get us to be able to get a trail from the south end of the Circle Trail, cross that railroad bridge over to 136, and then we can turn that along 136, come back into Covington, and create another cool loop there. We've also started discussions with Flexingate because you get to that rail corridor at State Route 136. From that point there up to 263, Flexingate owns that section of the rail corridor. And we've started discussion with them about being able to get a trail easement and extended trail up to 263, which would allow us to get up to Warren County. So we're creating these loops, opportunities between Warren and Fountain County for people to get out and enjoy 5 miles, 3 miles, 3 miles at a time.
well, I just wanted a description because if we approve this project funding, our population is going to ask us why we spent that money. So we have to be accountable to that, and I wanted to know exactly what their plan was, so I can explain it to them.
It's developing a regional trail system that's going to have local connections, connect locally with all our communities here.
And also with Kelly, I'm on the same line because the people east of here, $450,000. You start connecting the line and, hey, when are we going to see that 450,000 tax dollar money used over here? That's going to be a first question, right, Kelly?
Yeah.
That's what we're going to face. And they said, well, okay, then in my question, she's talking about, you said Montgomery County, right, a while ago. Are they not part of that?
They're part of the Wynn
They're not the Wabash River.
Right.
They're not adjacent to the Wabash River.
Because they're doing some work over there tearing down things with the Sugar Creek. I read where they're doing stuff like that. So I just wondered, in connection with you guys.
We would like to eventually, long term, connect to Sugar Creek and Crawfordsville in Montgomery County. They're part of the Wynn region. We want to connect all the counties in the Wynn region to the Wabash River Greenway with trail corridors of some type.
Now, did we already say we would support this? Dale said a minute ago that you had some information that we had already supported. Some of
Well,
this
I think
information.
we voted last month to
To support.
support the project and try to find the funds, so.
You know, you need a motion.
Yes, so do we have a second to Dale's motion?
I said I was second if, and what you said about the money. And you said if we could fund it when we get to that point. You said something in that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to, it'll have to be an additional appropriation at some time and be advertised.
Once we
So,
find out.
right, once we find out that they get the grant and commissioners come. So right now, I think Dale's motion, we're voting to try to find the funds to support this. Is that correct in your motion?
And my second.
And your second?
For the same
Okay.
motion.
Okay, so all those in favor? Opposed? So 6-1.
What do we need to do next?
Well, the next step will be the commissioners. They're gonna have to,
We'll have to wait to see if we did get that grant. If we get any heads up, then we can. I don't know if we want to go ahead and do. With the anticipation that we're gonna get it, I mean, it looked pretty favorable, you know, with the committee, it made the top 10.
Let's say we do.
Okay, so we would have to do additional preparation. Probably at our next meeting, because I'm sure your cutoff for DLGF is like November. So if we know that, we have an invoice, or let's say we don't have any bills by the end of this month, if we can get an invoice that we can pay, then we can carry that money next year without doing another additional. We will, obviously.
So will we have an invoice to encumber?
Right, that's what I mean.
Would they just- I don't know, I would say, if they don't know if they're getting a grant until December, maybe just January,
Right,
yeah,
and save the extra money from advertising.
right.
and just get it all.
Okay.
the same year. Because the funds, if they're.
I-
already spent, they're just.
Yeah, Dale, what I would do is commissioners have the attorney, let them, I mean, there's a step, they'll have to check with the attorney, see what we can do on our, what we can do, then,
I just didn't know.
And then probably-
2022, 2023.
That's not.
all right.
We'll figure out these.
Yeah.
This is a bold step on my part. I want to change my vote.
Okay,
In the nineties, we were talking about the rails property going on, post that, and I changed my mind about that. I think that's statement, farmland, farmland, farmland. And that's my reason for that. Not I'm going to farmland at that time. We were break the railroads with the right of way. And so I recovered the farm that was, you know. That's a consideration, but.
We have one more question before we get it.
okay, but we got a lot of on our agenda.
You know what, I'm still on that, Kelly and I'm still on this project, and so we get it done here, let's say we do that. Okay, and the other thing, how about going down this railroad from Petersburg and then up to Attica to Perry Street? That was a key word, Perry Street's a long way up here, so when we're gonna have action starting on this end? That's the reason why I kind of made a motion, second the motion, to see this get done, not get locked in over here for 10 years. Otherwise, I'm gonna change my vote. See what I'm saying? I want to make sure we got something going on. And I'm with these guys, farmland, don't want to use it. but there's a railroad that's being farmed out along 136. So that was my question. And Kelly, did you have anything you wanted?
I know Dell and I talked about eventually running that up and hitting the trail system there, bringing work at some point. Yeah, all around it. If there's a culture village left, they got hit last night. And I know that is the goal, the ultimate goal. But I don't want to have this commitment every 5 years or whatever the timeline is, and having to appropriate additional funds for this project. To me, it sounds like it's never ending, to get there. And I'm just real hesitant about it.
I have no frequency plans to come back to the county for more money. There's no trail plans on the paper that we would come and ask for money, nor do I have any immediate or future plans to come to the county. The only reason I'm coming to the county is because of this particular grant that could help the county's part is why I'm coming at this time. I have no intention to come back in the future for funding the county. My first time in 16 years, or probably my last time. It's just because it's in the county park. That's the reason.
Well, the READY program requires a one-to-one match between public money and READY money. So we can't go out and get other nonprofit foundation money and qualify and meet the READY money has to be from local public dollars.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we got 911 EMS coroner building, and Kathleen's worked all night long, so we're gonna move her up so she can go home and get some rest. So,
You're fine. I'm kind of observer at this point.
Come on, Josh.
You are. More than happy for you to speak for me.
right?
Bob was here, but he just didn't come up. Tina should be on. So, I don't know what we're talking about really. I think you guys put us on the agenda, no?
No, I thought you guys asked. me.
Oh, no. I thought you guys wanted us on.
No. I mean, well, we can talk about the jail. Are you guys approving that here down?
It's not been brought to us to,
It's not on the agenda
Oh,
today.
she's seen her on.
Yeah, she's on here.
no.
Maybe that
Commissioners
was-
haven't talked to us. I mean, I guess they accepted the bid, but they've not talked to us, requested the funding and,
But.
You got
You
your.
said we got.
One of the commissioners contacted IPSC, and IPSC is coming Wednesday to disconnect the tower from the jail. So like it's a done deal. It's supposed to come to you guys.
Yes. Being jail too.
So can we put it on the agenda now? And that's part of us right now.
See, they,
well, I mean, commissioners haven't communicated a thing to us about that they've accepted a bid and they want to tear down the jail, and they've got to come, there's no money. They got to come to us for additional appropriation, and they haven't.
Can I run and get the commissioner?
Well, I mean, we can't, I don't think we can legally vote on it, and we haven't advertised for it, and they haven't even presented the,
Jimmy did her.
well,
No.
she's gonna be on the agenda, but I mean, we can't vote on tearing the jail
Because it
down
has to
because
be
it's gotta be advertised. It's gotta be an additional appropriation.
Yeah, it's on the same way house and they accept it.
Yeah. Yeah, 84, and you guys had a quote for 59. I don't know why he didn't bid.
Well, I think there were so many stipulations in there that,
That's what I would say. This would be. And I don't think I.
to 59. So,
So can we put that on the
agenda for next month, yeah. As long as commissioners want to talk to us
So
about
what
it.
if it starts getting torn down before it's on the agenda?
Somebody's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
I would
That's
say
what-
don't have to do a thing until.
Yeah.
I'm not doing
Yeah.
anything.
Okay. We'll talk to Brenda when she comes back in, because they haven't even discussed it with
The
us.
gas
so.
lines, the gas company can't come out and check the lines. It's turned off, but they need to remove the lines from the building, and it's 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay,
But
so,
they talked to IPSIC about the tower, and they're supposed to be going out Wednesday,
okay,
and I didn't talk to them.
okay. News to me. And
So we can't
everybody else
really
here,
talk
right?
about anything then, because there's nothing really to talk about.
Okay.
I mean, you guys looked over that information, but there's nothing really to discuss, right?
Not right now, I don't think so.
Okay, so we just have to wait on that to be on the agenda and go from there.
Yep,
So they asked me to get you on.
That's right.
I didn't talk. Who asked me?
At the last meeting, they said we need to go to the council.
Tina, you have anything for us?
No, I don't. I will say, I do think Dean Burke would have been fine. He's been in business for 20 years. He knows what he's doing, but
So that $59,000 never even got put on the agenda.
No, he
Because he
didn't. Well,
didn't.
because I guess that,
I just know, like I said, I'm a casual observer.
okay. So Brenda, you want to, somebody's telling us they're talking about disconnecting gas and all that at the jail, and that you guys haven't even discussed it with us about tearing down the jail and,
We went through the bid process and accepted the bid from Walden, and the lowest bid. I know Brad had asked in an informal meeting what we're gonna do with that property, and if the county would give it to him. We caught wind that the council was not really in favor of that, that we need to go through the process to get it demolished, and like $97,000 to do that. Now we're finding out that there's 2 underground tanks from the previous jail, so that's gonna probably add another 40,000 at least, because right now the highway department taking out those tanks is 7,000. So I mean, you can't put a new structure, you've got a structure there, and it's gonna be up to the county to, that's. I don't know where they're gonna start, but we gotta have things disconnected, because a lot of stuff was not taken out when asked to be removed from jail, so it's. Old.
I have a question. Do we have any figure or an estimate on the building of the new building?
yes.
yes,
We got that one, yeah. And I probably look at
There is,
Council, but maybe Kelly, you were gone and you were on the Zoom that day. And I don't want to do this. I didn't know the information.
okay, you could email her that information.
Yeah.
But your bid with demolition is $90,000.
it.
It's 84 for the wall guys through.
Yeah, they for it's 992 or something for the next one, and what, 94.
But-
And that's with removal of the underground tanks.
No, well, that's a decision.
So
How they do
92
this,
million.
because when they start going
thought
over
they
there and
approved
testing it.
Nothing else.
like a house or what, 200.
No, that was on reassessment.
Walker, there's no signs of asbestos.
So that should have been on the budget today, to go to the council to approve. Or
Well, we haven't even asked for additional appropriations yet.
Okay, so they're not like gonna start tearing down jail or,
No, we have to have things unhooked before we can even consider.
but I mean, what if they decide they don't wanna tear it down?
We have signed intent letters or anything, we just accept the bid.
Okay.
Right now, they're paying money, right?
Thank you.
They're paying money right now since it's still connected, right? And work is charging us, electric company is charging us because we still got a hotline to that jail.
Who's charging us?
I guess Vectren is still charging us because they're.
You pay a monthly fee.
I don't think
So
so.
they
Gas
are-
is turned off.
I thought everything was turned off. We
Gas
just need
is
to
turned off.
Okay, so the gas is off.
If not, it's gonna be about $90 a month. Just to make sure.
How about the phone line, stuff like that?
That's what we
Is
pay
that
on
all
our
going?
free drone system.
Yeah.
No, if I want it disconnected and then reconnected, it's about $500. But for the months that we don't use it, I pay a $99, it's a fee every month. It's like it's a service to keep it turned on.
Are we paying a fee over there? Okay.
I think it's-
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just a service fee every month.
Okay,
Well, there's gonna be a fee for it to tear it down.
yeah. Oh, Judge, do you have anything?
Judge Stephanie.
Do you have anything for us?
I just need some money. No, nothing outside of that.
Okay.
Well, I will say, one thing I would like to say is that everybody needs to have it on their radar, the commissioners too. You know, I had moved Brad with the computer server in the corner office up here. The caveat was that I needed to have that office back at some point. And my thought was that there was going to be rooms set aside at some point for actual IT. And then when I was here yesterday, I found out that all the servers are being moved into there and fair commission for them, fully lost the office now.
And I was not aware that we would find that office back. Even when I was on there, I don't remember that. Like,
Well,
so sorry.
No, we had it, the only part law that I was getting pressure from the state to get out of my law. So I said, okay, I'll get that up. And I'm okay with that, but when I come back for more room, but just remember that, but also too, in all fairness, in the IT situation, it's a very temporary fix.
Okay, well, and I understand
And we're
that,
gonna
and-
outgrow it real quick.
and that's where I don't know if we need to entertain.
Well, I know it wasn't on the agenda, but it's just in the front of my mind, I'm seeing.
Obviously, there's
Thanks.
not much space in the courthouse.
Okay, Josh, you have anything?
I stopped in and talked to the commissioner last Monday. 7 cases in 10 days. So we're gonna advance that to 8 cases in 13. 3 autopsies since then. We participate in a state drug program, so overdoses are paid for. We're gonna have to pay for that. So part of that talks paying. Next month, Colleen, is that right? You'll see an additional, then we'll hopefully carry. I mean, it's high conservative. If we can get over, I know that's an oxymoron. To carry us through the rest of the year, hopefully. But we're getting paid into it like everybody else is. And they're not, unfortunately, they're not simple things. They're just getting by home.
See, Rick's here, and I have a question about, the commissioners put out bids for snow removal and the mowing of the courthouse lawn, and we have all that equipment, and Rick does a great job mowing. Why are we putting that out for bids?
I don't know about the mowing, but I do know about snow removal that it's been mentioned, it is hard for Rick to go on his own. I can't answer.
Okay, wasn't the bid, wasn't it?
It was
Bids
it
for
was
mowing
There's two different, actually, there's three different quotes that were received. One was for the salt. the yard salt
Yes.
put on there, anything over, 2 inches or something that they would.
Okay, and we have a line item for snow removal, so,
And
but,
we
I
waited
mean,
so long that we could not get any, I think, last year or this year.
okay,
So we want to get that quote out there.
but we're gonna leave the mowing and lawn care up to Rick, cause he doesn't wanna give that up, but, you know, and we've got the equipment, so, and there's no money budgeted for that. There is money budgeted for snow removal, because he does want to give that up, so. Okay,
The only thing I say about that, on that snow, if Tim said he's on, he put that to me, we get too into the wet snow. I'm not gonna watch it. But I haven't really, the old four wheeler, I read it all, the city don't help me out. When they do the snow, smart, they're going out, there's no way you can.
okay,
You don't even have. a lot.
And that was on a separate bid.
Yeah, but every time they want. We
Okay.
don't even have people.
which was like $500 approximately, right? So there's, I think, enough budget for about 5 times, so hope we don't have any. Yeah.
Just credit, each private city was community service people for that in the past, and it's not reliable enough to come show up at.
Yeah, okay. But maybe we can get somebody that you could hire at $20 an hour or something to snow.
Well, that'd be the
removal.
best.
Okay.
We can't get anybody to work.
Rusty, you have anything? Okay, Guard, I know you do. Yeah, let's get, we got a lot on here, so let's get, yeah,
I don't want to take all this time. Well, I'm gonna have to, but I'll talk to you.
okay.
Go ahead, I mean, you want me to do it now? or-
Yeah, let's do it now before we get into all these, the budgets, and that's gonna take some time.
So, I know you guys have a letter in front of you from, Tombu. I know Jim Lee and I talked for earlier in the year, throughout the year, about, you know, with our run numbers, we needed to bring our 4th ambulance, trying to, you know, help with some of the run loads. Since then, things have changed. Number one, for years, we've always ran an on-call truck. Basically, they work one day on staff, second day they're on call, we're off the day, and we're sporadic and off for 3. What we're finding right now, the on-call day is not an on-call day. It's actually on station day. We're running enough runs right now that they're in there more than they're on call. So in turn, that's making them be there 48 hours straight. So what we're looking at also too, the other thing that's happened too is that our neighboring hospital, St. Vincent's Hospital, the ambulance service has been approved to staff a second ambulance full time. Previously, it was, that second truck was an on-call truck. If they staffed it, they staffed it. If they didn't, they did. They have been approved for that. So now what they are doing, and I could voice my concerns on it, but unfortunately right now they're recruiting people to come over and work to cover that truck. And obviously the package deal they're offering is pretty good, to the point that they've got people interested in, you know, going there to work. So what I wanted to propose, I kind of talked to the commissioners last week, we need to make a change in our rotation right now. We need to look at going to an EBC shift where they work 24 off 48. So, you know, this would, I mean, obviously with going to ABC shift, this would require, you know, 18 people like I requested. basically 6 on each day. They would be on for 24 hours, off 48. This, I put some numbers together. I've given you some numbers. I know that I've given to you, Tom, I have, I've got copies here. It's pretty close to where my budget, what I asked for 2022, maybe a little bit of an increase on it. But the only thing I've got to do, and I talked with Brenda, is obviously we've got to follow FLSA rules and make sure we're compliant. I reached out to our consulting group, Addie, who takes care of payroll law, help write us the policies and that. She's very well versed on the payroll law. I reached out to her to make sure what I'm proposing is compliant with FLSA. And if that is true, then what numbers I've given, and I'll give you copies here, that would be where we would be on our, what I would be asking for 2022. I think we're in a situation right now with the ambulance service, we're going to have to make, gotta make a change in the schedule. If we don't make a change, I think we're going to lose enough people that I'm not sure the service is going to be able to sustain, stay, be able to cover the ambulances the way they're covered. It also, by creating this package deal, this ABC shift, this will entice people outside of the county to come here and work. Where the problem is if they come here now, they got to be here for 48 straight, and that makes it tough. So, like I said, I've got some numbers here, figures. I can give you guys copies of these, let you look at them. I've also got a calendar worked out where you guys can see how the ABC shift works. I know that we need to, and you guys are wanting to adopt or ratify the budget and all that. I'm assuming that's all part of that. But I'm just telling you from the director's position, department head's position to this, things have changed in the last 60 to 90 days. The hospital's been the biggest one. And in order to stay competitive and make it a good package deal for somebody to come here to work for Fountain County, we're going to have to make a change. And that there can be, there will be some, we'll have to make some changes within the budget to make that work.
Or did you, maybe we've talked about this before, but if you get extra personnel on staff, will it lower your, if you project?
Yeah, I projected it's not going to drop it. And this is where I got to basically when you do an ABC shift, it's called Kelly Day, Kelly shift. So, you know, obviously there's FLSA rules behind that, you know, and this is where I need to work with Addie to make sure we are in compliance with what I'm proposing to you on payment, how we pay them and make sure we're paying them properly. We would change right now. We're paying them on a, what we call a fixed salary on fluctuating hours. So basically, the reason for that is because their present rotation, they're working 32 hours overtime every week. You pay them the traditional time and a half, we wouldn't be able to sustain them to be in business. Yeah, because they would make a lot of money overtime. So the fixed salary is a fixed dollar amount for up to 40 hours. And anything over 40, you basically look at it's called halftime. And if that dollar amount will fluctuate according to how many hours you work in a week. That's worked. Jim knows about this. This has worked for, gosh, what, since 97, 98, you know, and, you know, up to about 2 years ago, the rotation and the way the schedule worked has worked very well. But in the last 2 to 3 years, with our run numbers changing, the increase, and that on-call day changing, that's where our challenge is right now. It's not make a good package deal to give to somebody, a new person coming in, and offering them a full-time job. You know,
This kind of simplifies things.
yes. So now what I'm looking at is going to an hourly rate. Pay the time and a half, but the hours they would work would be over 40 hours would be less. Because of the, 1 week in there, they would work, there's 3 days in there, but that's where that Kelly day falls in place. That day, that week where they work 3 days, that third day in there can be considered a Kelly day. I gotta make sure I'm doing it right, make sure how we compensate them. I'm looking at, I gotta figure on giving them a full Kelly day off or a half a day. Now, the problem with that you run into is you're in a 2-week period, you're looking at 12 shifts they're gonna have to cover. Because you're gonna have to have 6 people off each week, Any way you look at it, you're looking between 12 to 13 people off, 10 to 12 off in that 2-week period. But I think this will still make it very enticing to people to come in here and work. Create a good package deal for them to come in here and work. The challenge we run into is I know Jim was part of this many years ago. When you looked at our roster, we would have like 20 or 25 people within our county that either were volunteers or EMTs or EMRs. Now that we're at advanced life support, unfortunately, a volunteer can't drive an ambulance unless we're in a crisis situation. EMRs can't drive an ambulance unless we're in a crisis situation. There has to be a minimum of an EMT with that medic, unless it's a basic truck, 2 EMTs, then the rules change. But if there's an advanced provider in that ambulance, there has to be an EMT in that truck somewhere. And that's state rule. That's nothing I set. That's nothing, that is state law. Nothing I can do about that. So now we look at my roster, and what's on my roster is I don't have that availability. We're looking at 5 to 6, really maybe 7 at the most. They're able to work consistently. And right now we're at a point, and Jeff and I we want to keep the service going. So we have stepped up and are covering shifts so that we can keep trucks running where we're not down. We don't have to shut a truck down. We don't have to, but unfortunately then that takes away from, what we're doing in the office. So I want to propose that we need to make a change. And where we're at funding wise, Jim, I think I asked for in 2022, 1.4 million. And that's with the 14 full-time and then the 4 I was bringing on for the 12-hour shift. Okay, paid at fixed salary and fluctuating hours, those 18. Now what I'm proposing is going to the ABC shift, paying the overtime. If you go with 18 employees observing the Kelly Day, if I'm correct, we would increase our budget $83,000, almost $84,000. If we observe the half Kelly Day, it would only be right at $44,000.
May I make a statement here?
Yep.
And visiting with Garth, I think the key thing that kind of really set me back, Garth, is that when I left your meeting, was that, can we save the service?
Well, I think, is where I get concerned is, I think we'll keep the service. It's just a matter of making sure we got enough people here to keep it, where we don't have to shut a truck down, And I don't think, to me, I would hate to see that when we have to reach out to the other departments to come in here and pick up a run. I mean, you're looking at, if they're available, that's the key, is if they're available, and you're looking at 20, 25, 30 minutes or longer for an ambulance to get here from another department. Or another, entity, Crawfordsville. Warren County is a little closer, but, if they're busy, yeah, and West Point right now is a basic service, so they're gonna call for a paramedic out of Lafayette to get there. So we're just in a, situation that we need to make a change. Is it, I think we're gonna be pretty close to answer Jim's question. I think what I originally asked for, the 1.4 million. Going to this, we're gonna probably be pretty close to that, and I'll over that.
Just as to back up Garth on how busy we are, and I apologize for stepping in, but just again, to give a truckie's point of view, my partner did 450 miles 2 weeks ago in one shift. And then we go on back up the very next day, and they were busy as well. I'm running on 2, 3 hours of sleep. And then you're asking me to go 80 miles an hour down the road, start my fees and stuff like that. And it was to the point where I was like, I'm gonna have to take a nap, right? It's just, and when he's telling you that we're putting miles on the truck and we're busy and talking about, but he's not pulling any, he's not pulling any lines. We're just, it's crazy. I've never seen it like this.
And I know it's, I talk on the phone. I know we're in a situation, and I project, obviously, April, May, we were down, on our collections. But if you look June, July, August, September, we're back up to above and beyond what I project we should get. I think we're going to be on that till the end of the year. I think we're going to push over $900,000 in collections for the year, which helps a lot, I think if you look at what we bring in, I think we're at about the $300,000 or $400,000 mark of what the county has to contribute into that. Even, I know my budget's probably one of the biggest ones in the county, not the biggest, but one of the biggest. But we bring a lot of money back in to offset that, and obviously we have our hands tied too, with insurance. Challenges we run in with insurance. So I think it was April, May or March or April, we get a letter from Medicare and everything was a month behind. And that's what we run into. We're also running into issues with the Medicare Advantage and Medicare replacement programs that a lot of people don't understand. Terry got called the other day, a lady called her, and literally shoot her out on the phone because we sent a bill to her. That was her copay. She's got Medicare Advantage. People don't understand the Advantage and the replacement, that it doesn't cover major medical. Ambulances is considered major medical, so there's a copay. So they think that it's saying they have Medicare. Your Medicare Advantage may be your primary, but then they'll say, well, your greater Medicare is your secondary. Medicare says, it exceeds what we pay, so then it goes back onto the patient, and then they don't understand that, and we get the phone call, or they don't call us at all because they think that it's already been paid.
When would you like to implement this if you were to do it?
Start in January.
Do you think it'll help with retainment?
I think it will. I absolutely think it will. I think it will create a package deal to people that will say, hey, I want to come here and work. Where I'm looking at on the hourly rate for EMTs. I don't have figured in my figures advanced EMTs. The reason is the advanced EMT that works for me right now has been offered about one time. I don't know if it's going to stay. So I've got to figure on just the medics pay, but the medics pay was going to be above, it's going to be higher than most places are paying. So it'll be very, very competitive, very enticing for them to come here and work. My EMTs will be a lot more than what most places around here are paying, but it keeps us not out of range so that it's not attainable for this county to handle. But it'll make us very competitive with other organizations that not better.
EMT make what?
about $15 an hour. Over $15 an hour.
And
he said they would
Shit, they know.
Well, we have it there.
The only thing I gotta do is, you know, and I sit down and I've read it, and, you know, how Jim and all of you know, you can sit and read a rule or law, and it can be interpreted 5 different ways, and I need somebody who knows payroll law, and this is Patty, she's helped me with a lot of different things, is making sure what numbers that I've given are accurate, or if I'm out in left field somewhere and we need to refigure and make sure. And these numbers that I've given, these are figured high a little bit. So like the days that need to be covered, like the Kelly days, are figured on what we would pay a part-time paramedic. And the reason is I can't tell you if an EMT is gonna pick up that open shift or a paramedic. So if an EMT picks it up, then it'll be a lesser dollar amount.
So we'll discuss this when we get,
What I'll do is I'll keep working on, you know, figuring out how we, making sure we're in, this could change per se. You know, if I'm quite and totally wrong, Natty tells me that, like I said,
okay,
you know, but I think, like I said, I think we need to really make a serious look and make a change.
Thanks, Brian.
okay,
Okay?
thank you.
Yep.
Okay, last thing we've got on things, we have the medical helicopter services. Dale, do you have?
Well, we had that one lady in. My neighbor works for an outfit out in Annapolis, but won't work for something. He said that he could beat the stuff that we had. But I didn't know where we go on with that, just drop it or what.
Well, we're gonna talk about that. It's not in the budget that we've got for today because we're already $350,000, even with all the cuts we've made, over what our income's gonna be, what we're proposing. But we don't really know what our total dollar amount is until later in the year, and we've got until December 31st on the helicopters. So we can look in December and decide whether we want to add that or not.
Want this company to come in?
Yeah, I mean, we'd be fine to have, okay. If they're interested.
Dale, do you know who it is? The Lifeline? Area back?
I don't. Chad Nessel,
Lifeline. Lifeline.
is this better than the company?
Last I knew, they didn't even offer a package deal. Because they don't have, that's what, and I could be wrong, that was according to what Jill said. Lifeline does not offer a membership because they put that, Lifeline doesn't charge. That, the amount that's, if you're flown by Lifeline, that is included into your hospital bill. So there's no, unless something's changed, I mean, it's up to you guys, but according to what I've been told and what Jill told you guys, Lifeline does not offer a membership because they are owned by IU, so they will include it all in their hospital bill. Yeah, but I mean, that's up to you. If you want to bring them in and have them look and present it, that's fine. Right, I don't either. I mean, maybe something's changed. But from what I've always been told and what she has communicated is Lifeline does not offer a membership. I mean, that's up to you guys.
Well, and that's
Yeah.
for December anyway, whether we have the funds or not, but Dale, you want to check with him and see, or November. Okay. Okay, additional appropriations public hearing is opened at 10:25 a.m. Is there any public comment concerning the all the resolutions for additional appropriations? Yes, Carol.
I don't understand why we don't have more time for the health department when we have CJS.
Well, then those aren't county funds, right? And this is a grant coming from the
No,
state for this.
This is what is being paid out of county funds. Before, it's being paid out of 1159, and it has been in the past reimbursed by the CARES grant, or not the CARES grant, the grant 9777. So that grant is in the red, and we've been supplementing with the COVID CARES money. Well, the commissioners a month or so ago voted not to do that anymore. So talking with Dr. Sharma and different ones, he requested an additional appropriation to hopefully carry us through the end of the year on the money that's being spent. He has cut the overtime just Wednesday nights, a little bit on Saturday morning, which has helped drastically. In Fund 9777, we're still in the red, $6,700, but we're expecting a grant to come in. So anyhow, this is to cover what's being paid out of the health fund, to cover the negative balance plus carry us through the end of the year.
So why isn't this coming out of the grant? The commissioners are okay with overtime out of our county funds?
Well, we didn't want to use CARES Act money that was left over that's in county general, because there are funds available through the state for their overtime for this COVID, and they're not, obviously not getting it or going after it. I don't know which, because what's, like Colleen said, you got the test site, the testing grant, and the vaccine grant, they're all in the negative as of August 31st. I don't know how they are now.
Correct, they still are, he's expecting money, but just like from January 1,
I heard that from Kelly.
Yeah.
So, yet they're not getting it, yet when I go to commissioner board meeting at the state, and people that are involved in the health, and Jake German, there's all kinds of grants that's available to pay for this overtime. Why are we not going after it? And that's why I said, no more CARES Act, because it's just dwindled it all away. Why is there not, why are they having so much overtime?
Yeah, I mean, why, this ought to come out of, in my opinion, ought to come out of the test grant. COVID test site.
Which fund to come. We just
Okay.
know that there's funds available, and quit using CARES Act leftover funds, because we were gonna use that for something else, and it's just all been one old way, probably $50,000 to $100,000 of overtime.
So we could vote to take it out of the test site, that 10,000, and then, I mean, it's still in the red, but supposedly there's 60-some thousand dollars coming.
There was grant money available, but. I don't
Okay.
know what the snafu is, 'cause
Okay.
other counties were getting the funds.
Okay. So do you have any other comments, Carol? If we take that out of, you okay with that? We take it out of their grant money and not use county funds for that?
Will Warren County be involved in any of that?
Not when it's grant money, because Warren County doesn't get the grant funds. They send them all to, it's for Fountain Warren Health, so.
So that would be eating it all.
But, oh, so we use our county tax dollars, then we're gonna bill them a third. But then
And
we're
that's
using
why it's-
tax money instead of using
See,
state
the
money.
CARES Act, you know, we were, there for a while, we were doing 100%, but that since it's fixed.
Yes, that's been
So-
fixed. What we've used with CARES money, I have been billing Warren County their third,
Yeah,
and
but
they've been paying it. And
are they getting test site money, Warren County?
supposed to be, yeah.
Well, if they are, then they still should be billed a third of this then.
And they have been, and they will be.
Okay, so you'll bill
And I
them a
have-
third of that?
I've been very upfront with Robin and Warren County as we're paying this overtime out of this fund, and I've given them the ledgers and they,
Okay,
and they have not had any qualms with it. So-
okay,
So basically, they were saying that they were getting test grant funds as well, and so they could.
According to Dr. Sharma,
So they could be paying their third there, and then basically our 2/3 would be
Right.
our grant.
Yes.
instead of using 1159.
I don't know.
Yes.
There's, most of the grant money comes 100% to Fountain County. There is a grant that part of it goes to Warren County, and we're trying to run that down now. It's like $16,000. But Robin, I had correspondence with her last week. She has not received it, and neither has Fountain County. Fountain County's received their portion of that, which is about 33,000, I believe. But it's not.
It just makes it very messy for bookkeeping.
Yeah.
Marginally.
Yeah.
And you got, like, we coming in as new, and Dr. Sharma, he lost his grant coordinator. He's not sure what's what, basically. And, you know, you reach out to state board accounts, they don't know, and you can't get Catherine Nicely, or I think that's her first name, to return your calls, so I'm kind of.
Work on us, and
Okay, Carol, you have anything else?
What's this, covered bridge repair?
Kate's Mill Bridge, Carol Friesman came to the commissioners asking for funding so that they could finish, stabilize, whatever, Kate's Mill Bridge. It was thought that we couldn't use covered bridge funds or Q bridge funds for a covered bridge because you can't actually drive a vehicle across it. But according to IC code, it's pretty vague, and I don't think there's much guidance from State Board of Accounts on the use of the funds, because I don't want the county to get in trouble by us using Q Bridge fund for a covered bridge. So the commissioners were okay with giving, the rest, to help them, since they worked so hard to raise whatever funds they could. And I see that's on the agenda today for additional appropriation. I did reach out to Kent Mitt over the weekend. And he said it's Q Bridge Fund. The bridge is defined as any structure designed to carry vehicular traffic over an obstacle. No requirement that is presently used as a vehicle, bridge, or on any inventory. He just reviewed the statute, and there's not State Board of Accounts directives. So under the statute, it looks like Kate's Mill Bridge is a bridge. Even though it's not, one of our inventory bridges that gets inspected.
But I thought he'd said that they had to go out and get bids, and they say they're not going to get bids, so are you giving them?
No.
the-
I tell you, Dudley, when I see the 200,000, I'm like, oh. Cart before the horse. I don't want the county to get in trouble on doing the 200,000, even though what Kent said was for the
But
bridge.
that was on your motion from the meeting.
Yeah, but the thought is, hey, they really didn't, if we're using county funds, shouldn't we go through the bid process? Because I think we're in violation. So Carol did put some things together for me. I just got them this morning. Haven't had a chance to look over them. I want to run it past county attorney of everything that she has done.
So do you want us to wait until you find out before we, did you guys vote to give them the 200,000?
If we could do it legally, that was the only thing. I'd have to look at what our actual minutes, what our motions were.
So should we table that until you get
I would
more
say if you
information?
could table the $200,000 additional. I think Colleen would be okay with. Yes, I can table it. Just table it.
Yeah, and we'll have it at the next November meeting as long as that announcement is
Okay.
made.
So if we can do that, I would feel better about it. Like I said, I don't want the county to get in trouble. Property-based funds or that, knowing that she did not go through bid process.
Yeah, the other thing, what I question is, we gave money to the, for the murals without bid process. I mean, Nancy hired those people to paint, and so that's why I wondered. We said, if you raise so much money, we'll match, which is what we did.
The only thing I was wondering about the reason for doing that, I would have thought we would have council guidance on that, but maybe it was unknown to them. With it being a building, the commissioners could, contribute money for upkeep on it, and since it was damaged, I don't know, Billy, I mean, it's
Okay.
a fine line.
And then one more thing about the covered bridge, I'm concerned. The only insurance we have on that is liability. And we put in $500,000-$600,000 and something happens to it, it falls in, or,
And that might be a question for Charlie.
so we need to probably add that to our insurance.
Colin, you might ask him, if we do need to change, I mean, I really don't know, because like I
Okay.
said, you can't, at one time, we did not have this courthouse, covered at the right amount, and as you can see, the premiums went up drastically this year, because you can't do these murals, I mean, the dollar amount is.
We can't place one on.
Yeah. Can't put it down. Okay.
So, on the bridge.
What?
I
Cover
think
it,
we have
burn,
to reach
or
out, to them and see
storm
how they
blew it
do
away, because, it
make
didn't
sure
cover
that
the
coverage
roof
is-
damage, so.
Because they do have something that you actually go across.
Yeah, I mean, visual investigate that, yeah, park area, one second. Other than maybe bushes.
Yeah, I just think Carol and Henry, they got some bad guidance, and I think there's some people, they were willing to repair the bridge and not go through the bid process, because then they could do it cheap. They were thinking they could do it cheaper and not have inspection. I mean, I don't know if they were comparing it to federal, the federal, yes, things are a lot higher.
Carol, do you have any, oh, sorry, Jim.
If you could do that.
Anything else?
I'm asking too many questions.
No, sorry. That's what public hearings for, so. Anything else? Okay, hearing none, we'll close public hearing at 10:38. Okay, resolution 2021-29, CEDAT. Additional request in the amount of $750 for printing and advertising. Assume that's for advertising additional appropriations. Okay. Jim McKee, motion, second. Kelly, all those in favor? 7-0. Resolution 2021-31, Health Department additional for 10,000. But do we want to make that motion that it come out of their grant? What was it, 9977?
Do that since it's advertised. The health fund was advertised.
Yeah, we have to keep it
So
out.
so what, then,
Something to my,
to,
and
okay,
then we'll
request it
direct
out of
Dr.
that.
Sherman to take it out of grant. I'm not
Okay.
sure we want to take it out of 9777, because I'd like to get it zero and start on some of these.
Well,
newer
maybe by
grants.
next month we'll have money. Okay,
Motion then, to turn it down.
that's what the board wants to do, or do you want
Or you just let,
to,
leave some kind of action on it.
yeah, I'm probably,
I'll make a motion.
to deny it
Well.
or to approve it? Oh, okay, Well, okay, motion to approve it, and then we, okay, sir,
I'll make a motion.
okay. Second, Tom,
To approve it, the 10,000.
well, yeah, so we can vote. I mean, we may not approve it. I mean, it
Okay.
depends on votes. So all those in favor? Tom, you're voting in favor?
Yes.
Okay, all those opposed?
What
Okay,
did she
so
say?
it's one
You're
that's
voting on it, but we may not use it.
You're approving.
taking it out of county general, but, okay, so you voted yes, and the rest of us voted no. Okay, so it's 1 to 6. Okay,
That's how I want to do it.
okay, you want to vote no? Okay.
Because I made the motion.
0 to 7, you made the second, yeah.
I second that
okay.
motion.
I looked at
I
the
can't
phone like,
flip-flop that, dude.
That's why, I was explaining that, okay. County General Maintenance 2 consulting fees, $70,000 for Roger Azar Deckard Engineering for the removal of fuel tanks at the highway garage. Their motion to accept that. Jim McKee, second. Okay, Jim Lee. All those in favor? 7-0. Resolution 2021-33, County General Maintenance 2, other repairs. $20,000 to pay Bell Excavating for the work done at the landfill. The balance of it was paid out of the landfill budget, but there wasn't enough in there, so. Is there a motion to approve that? Kelly, second. Dale, all those in favor? 7-0. County General Maintenance 2, capital outlay resolution 2021-34. Approve the additional amount of, well, 15,000. Say we're not gonna need that much.
No, we're not.
So we want to change that,
Andrew had thought it would be about half of what it was for the 911 office. And that was 14,000.
so we do 8,000 with that.
I would say. so.
Okay, is there a motion to make that for 8,000? For the air conditioning, okay, Jim Lee, second. Dale, all those in favor? 7-0. County General EMA Emergency Fund, to request the amount of $28.92 for the rental of 2 generators for the Luke Bryan concert. The amount will be repaid by the concert promoters, so we've received that yet, or,
We have not, but not
Okay.
that I know of.
okay,
And Joe's out working on.
No, we haven't received that.
okay,
We haven't received anything from
okay.
Everything was submitted last Thursday. So-
Your people are gonna get
Yeah,
paid from,
Yeah, what basically, Marty Rudd from Sydney County helped us, he submitted everything to the promoter, so they said probably maybe up to 3 weeks, but
okay,
I'm expecting payments to be good this week.
okay. Is there a motion to approve that? Tom, second. Jim Lee, all those in favor? 7-0. County General Jail Resolution 2021-36, overtime 7,500, prisoner meals 45,000. Is there a motion to approve the additional request of 52,500? Okay, Bill made the motion, Jim McKee second, all those in favor? 7-0. Resolution 2021-37, lit, public safety, additional overtime 7,500 for the sheriff. Is there a motion to approve that? Jim Lee, second. Tom, all those in favor? 7-0. Okay, we just table that. Do we need to make a motion for that one to table it, or
No,
just,
that you-
just, okay, so we'll table resolution 2021-38 until commissioners get more information on that. Resolution 2021-39 medical, 25,000 additional for medical at the jail. Is there a motion to do that? Bill, second. Jim Lee, all those in favor? 7-0. Transfer request, County General Veteran Service, $223.98 from training and education to flags and office supplies. Is there a motion to approve that? Kelly, second. Bill, all those in favor? 7-0. County General Jail, transfer from vacation sick, $1,000 to holiday pay. Is there a motion to approve that?
Yes.
Tom, Kelly, second. All those in favor? Okay, 7-0. Radio dispatch, transfer from travel mileage, $540 to contractual services and IDAX. Is there a motion to approve that $540? Jim Lee, second. Dale, all those in favor? 7-0. County misdemeanor, transfer operating supplies, $19.74 to equipment. Is there a motion to approve that? Dale, Tom, all those in favor? 7-0. Health Department, group health to office supplies, is that in group health? Okay, so transferring $1,000 from group health to office supplies, is there a motion to approve that? Jim McKee, second. Jim Lee, all those in favor? 7-0. Carryover, Health Department, they're requesting carryover $6,815.50 to the health insurance from the local health department trust account. And that's their trust fund, so it's not any county funds that are being used. So is there a motion to approve that? Carryover, Kelly, second. Tom, all those in favor? 7-0. And salary ordinance, we need to amend our 2020-10 salary ordinance because the health department has a volunteer coordinator to be paid out of the COVID testing grant. And we didn't put that in our salary ordinance, so we need to put her salary on there, and it's all paid out of COVID testing grant money. Is there a motion to approve that?
They have $1.6 million. Right?
Well, no, that's our health. That's not, that's.
I just looked at that
trust.
fund a minute ago.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. Yeah. Okay, so is there a motion to put this,
Well,
second? Dale? All those in favor? Okay, yes, Carol?
If it's a volunteer, why are we getting paid?
No, he coordinates volunteers.
Okay.
He's not a volunteer.
Yeah, volunteer coordinator, that person gets the volunteers to help with that. Yeah, yeah, okay,
I thought the same thing.
yeah, okay.
we get offered, we gotta find out about this first. It's not on the agenda of the commission, but they put $4,500 toward it. Has anybody started on that?
Tom's wanting to know, Rick, is the furnace been fixed? Have they?
We got them operating, we really haven't used,
Okay,
but the main leak is still there. So as long as it stays running, we'll be fine. If it busts out, through the winter, I can't answer that.
well, I thought the quote was to replace
Those
those.
was just to fix 2 little 8x8 float gaskets. That was the gas.
Well, we have a quote from Reynolds for doing the valves for,
Well, that's what about,
Yeah.
that wasn't the big.
so we haven't acted on it yet.
You know, as long as it will run and not go down, we shouldn't have a problem.
Okay, so both of them are working now?
Yeah, they're both, they can both off.
Okay,
Soon I kick the one in and those switches on. We'll know pretty quick.
okay,
if it's on.
Can we back up to the salary ordinance?
yes.
Who made that motion, second?
Say that. Let's see, that was Tom and Dale. Okay, so now this,
That's the one that was no.
this was no, so we all
And
need to
these
sign.
are all yeses.
Okay,
And then there's the salary.
so that one's no. salary.
We'll move on.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay. It's time to get all these papers signed too. Okay, so all these are ayes, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I put that one on top.
So we want to do the file.
What is this salary ordinance?
Yes, that's the
Hey,
salary
okay.
ordinance where we put that volunteer on there.
Okay, I just got a text back from Kent because I said they tabled the additional appropriation due to lack of bidding on roofs. Will this need to be bid out? Do they need to
My
start
son.
over? Yes, it must be bid. They don't have to wait to appropriate the funds. The money will just be appropriated, not spent until bid process is completed and contract signed. Then come into line, reject bids. So I don't know what you want to do with 200,000. It's already happened.
Yeah, I think we're good where we're at, so. Because I heard they were not going to go out and get bids, so.
No, because I heard that the company that did it said they would have went higher if it had been through the process.
But, I mean. If you get, I'm what? We told it. Yes.
You need to rubber stamp.
Okay.
I just mean, I just want to get this first thing solved because I do. She said, Brenda, on the last meeting, there was a $4,500, it was not on our agenda. And about fixing the furnace, and it was not on your agenda, excuse me. And right at the end, you approved $4,500 to fix the boilers. And it was not on your agenda, but right at the end, I think Andrew brought it up.
She has, I didn't bring anything from my meeting, so. $4,500 that we approved at the end of our last commissioners meeting. That is boilers.
Yes.
To fix boilers.
See, we never got a quote.
He had it on his phone
Okay.
and he sent it to us,
I signed, I put it in, signed it.
Who did?
I believe.
There's a well, Reynolds.
Reynolds. And you didn't get a quote from Scott. And he had been working on it all this time and I just wondered why. I mean, why did he?
Did he just send one?
I don't think Scott's been pointing to Brett, he bidding.
For that, so here's what I'm saying, is we don't have that solved. We don't have this furnace issue solved.
Well, it will run, operate, as long as it parks up every time. It will not do. But I really
I
don't
asked
know.
him to send that to me because I didn't have it. And
Yep, go ahead. Yep. Okay.
Be truthful. I think Scott's is fed up this year. Because he's worked here for
there's
5,
the
6
quote
years.
from Reynolds.
And he's just.
Anderson.
That's just, you can talk to Scott, but it's not us. He's just talking.
Yeah, and I know. Tom is up to it, so.
Yeah.
So just, I think that's exactly what's happening. I think we talk to you before the after meeting about something.
But I talked to Scott. He says I got more cards.
Yeah, either way.
But he does. But when he also said,
Okay.
he said that if there's more discussion about completing it, we would come in. Now, that's why.
Now,
If we get to that point,
he's busting his ass to help us place up. But after this meeting, I do need to talk to you guys about something that's going on. you know.
Who's it? Is this yours, Colleen?
Yes. I just wanted you to see it so that.
No. Give them extra money.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. My bill sent September 15th. Yeah. After she said, I'm like, oh, I don't remember what the paperwork. I know it's like,
And that does not include.
it didn't really present it in the proper way, so.
Yes, and that does not include public distribution.
No, that's 87,000.
So we're talking 2.7 million out of all of it.
Yeah. The whole thing was not submitted properly.
No. We did not drop channels.
And feel like I remember glancing through it, I remember the 12%. And that was the architect. No one gave permission to go. So,
Yes. And has anything been submitted for that?
I don't know, they haven't come to us. I mean, yeah, they submit that, blah, 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 that's about it.
Okay.
Pretty much have that.
I just feel like,
Proper procedure.
It's like chaotic.
It is.
I didn't know it's. So we can cancel it again.
Has nothing to do with budget.
It's not bad. It's not bad. That's totally different. Yeah.
And then let us
I knew it, and I just did because they asked. me to tell me.
So we turned out, I did there, you know, but then we're all mad. It really wasn't that right. And then the bidding. The question. Commissioner in charge of that, and one we don't have to get council to and it's gonna be a long. Okay. Good to know.
Yeah, just,
I forgot to bring my school books. But I figured these are updated anyway.
They are, yeah. And I don't know, probably wait till-
We'll just make notes on
I'm so
these.
rusty.
Well, oh my gosh. I couldn't imagine any of it. Unless you worked in it, like worked in the office and then moved up.
Right.
That's one thing. But just to step in, do it right. No way.
I did.
Well, they went in, that was not on that agenda, you know that, that's what you know that Kelly.
What?
That was not on the agenda.
We're gonna find out as we it's gonna be chilly in this building.
But you know, it's supposed to be that it's.
You can't, I just did what was done
I know.
before, and it's
The allotted, we just adopted, county general function budget exceeded.
maybe do the ones that have a tax rate, and all the others I would just have to undo together.
Okay, so can you mark on here? which one?
Yeah, right. I would do this one.
Okay. Okay, let's, we need to finalize on our budget. And I gave all of you a copy here of our proposed budget, county general, $6,633,433. Seated budget, $900,801. Public safety, $760,495. Human capital development, $317,500. And we average about 1.2 million in additionals every year. So that brings us to 9,812,239. Our income next year, public safety, 656,898, CDET 526. I have to take the last county general that we know what it was exactly, and that's, so I did our 2020, which was $7,659,551. And we have a surplus in our human capital development of 615,000, which brings us a total income next year of approximately $9,458,054. So we approved the budget that we've got here. We're going to have a deficit of about $354,184 that'll have to come out of county general, or because that's about the only fund we have left now. What we have, reassessment, that budget's 506,000, our income's approximately 418,000 because it's on a tax rate. So but we have a surplus of 595,000, so we're good there for a while. Health department budget's 320,000, income's 350,000. They have a surplus of $1.3 million. And so we're proposing cutting the tax rate from 0.03 to 0.01 on that because there's plenty of money in there, and move that 2 cents, 1 cent to county general fund and 1 cent to the human capital development fund. Local health maintenance, they have the budget set the state and the state income, and they have 147,000 surplus in that. Local health trust, again, the budget and income is the same, and there's 160,000 surplus there. 9/11 fund, the budget's 463,000, our shares 347,000. We get approximately 360 from the state, so we're pretty good on that budget. Cambridge budget 831,000, income 611,000, but there's a surplus. We started at 462,000. Local roads and streets budget's 250,000, income's 268,000 for next year, which leaves a surplus of 227,000. MVH restricted. The budget request was over 4 million, that we're only going to get 2,710,000 next year. So done some changes on there, and still about the best we can do is a 3,165,000. Hopefully there'll be some money carried over into the year on that budget. Now, what you have here is the changes that we talked about on our full day meeting. And then the other evening, Jim Lee and I sat down for 3 hours here and went through everything, did what we thought we could do. And we're not trying to ram this down your throat. We're just showing you what we think is the best that can be done right now. I know the ambulance had requested 4 new people, and we did 2 on this proposal, but after today's, if you want to add those 2 more, that would increase this $85,534. We could change that because I know we need to do what we can to keep from losing people. Sheriff had requested 2 new deputies. We did put in 1 deputy. And so we have a deficit of 354,000, another 85, leave out 439,000. We might have to watch on our additionals next year, but this is what we're proposing, but we'll make any changes. We're open to all, any of that. That's what we're here for. If you want to change the ambulance to stuff, yeah. Yeah.
It's the third page towards the bottom, is where it starts.
Oh, okay. So we had paramedics 9, EMT 6. We want to change that to 10 and 7. That would increase our proposed budget $85,534.99. But I'm open for any discussion now if you want to talk about these things. And if you're okay with what we've got.
What did you say, EMTs were what? Increased what the number?
From we've 6 to 7, and paramedics from 9 to 10. And then I'll add $85,534.99 to our budget totals. Want to vote on that now? Leave it at 1 each or 2 each?
What we all know. Back to 40.
Mhm.
Be true. I'm going to go to the track 4.
Okay.
They're busy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so is everybody okay with that if we change that? Okay.
17.
7 to 10, yes.
After 48 hours,
Yeah, we're just.
no, give me a break.
Okay.
And what do you say about the sheriff's department? Devlin?
We increased it 1 new deputy. And we'll have our, that's a bad thing. We gotta pass a budget before we even know what our money's gonna be next year. This 2022 public safety and seated is just preliminary. At the end of the month is when it's finalized. Plus, we'll know what we have left over and I gave you all a new updated sheet of what our balances are, and we'll know what we have left carried over. So we need to make some changes.
With the sheriff's department, I think, just correct me if I'm wrong, with just 1 deputy, it's gonna interfere with the scheduling. On
Just
how,
wanted to do that before we decide. Okay, in all honesty, I'm not trying to be an asshole about it. So basically, what is going to do is I need the guy to detect the position when I'm still in single, that many guys in the. So,
Well-
no one else to fix it.
What's the total amount of deputies gonna cost us? Retirement, insurance and all that?
Sure,
Two of them are $168,000 a year.
That's with their cars, the fuel, the tires, the everything, the insurance.
It's about the same.
116,160.
So it's 84,000.
And then this way, that way we keep the two guys on the ship together. Instead
Yeah.
of still being by themselves, moving fast. Yeah, just the other night, I had things getting broke into, and I've got one company working. You can't be in two places at once.
So that puts about $500,000 over. If we had,
And I hear these guys too. I heard them get out, I mean, they're out. These guys are working midnight.
So I work their night 17 hours.
So,
So,
it's bring out a figure. It's not gonna get any better. We're just in a time of this country that I just can't see it. That we can say that.
So let me ask a question, Doug. If you put my 4 back in, that would put me back to my original dollar amount, correct? 1.4,
no,
or 1.4.
well, the one,
If you put the 85 back in. But where I'm concerned about is I need to make sure how this Kelly days work with adding. If it's going to go above and beyond the 1.4 that I originally asked for.
1,419, it's 1,419,000.
So I need to make sure legally that we're doing the way I figured the numbers are correct. So I don't need to come to you and say, well, according to Abby, now it's going to be 1.5 million. So bring the 4 on. See where I'm going with that?
Yeah,
So
but we
now
have to
it's gonna
approve
cost
the
more.
budget today, though. We can't, it has, because it's got to be done by November 1st, right? So we'll just have to,
They're just.
Just figure out, okay.
yeah, we'll have to do additional, we have to do additional,
I
so.
just want to make sure.
So you want to add another deputy in then? Is everybody in agreement with that? Okay. Okay, so any other changes that you see on here? So you had that.
So Probably gave me something back from Lieutenant General, so we can see it, and I just have had some concerns with the capital outlay. I requested 100,000, and see that, and got 10,000. And then capital outlay for county general, I requested 50,000, it's down to 10. As you well are aware, we have a lot of additional appropriations this year for capital outlay. I don't foresee going away because we still haven't addressed, all the resolution units. We certainly were surprised with the issues with the highway department. Obviously, they don't have funds to fix, the problems that they have with their, the exhaust and which we're still waiting on. Supplies, to get that all done, so they can work, not get over there. Go over there and see how you can breathe, that we're finished, it's not well done, so the state's still working on it. Okay, so we are working on getting the shots that's presented on there, the air quality. So I just wanted to express my concern if it was being dropped. I understand having to stay under a certain below, whatever you advertise. And I know that there are some concern and needs in both the jail, sheriff department, and the ambulance department. So just that being said, there could be some things coming, so, just be ready, we can come to you by setting this. And then the other one that I had concern on was to see that for consulting fees and commissioner special legal fees, it was 0. I asked for 5,000. Consulting for Addie was 1,000.
Well, we talked about that on our full day, and we just don't feel like there's communication right now, and so we want you to have to come to us and tell you what you want the money for, because, you know, the enterprise lease, nothing was discussed with us about it. We still don't know anything about that program. Talking about selling the jail without talking to us. So,
Selling the, we didn't sell,
are giving it to the city.
it was just asked, and then when it got back to the rest of the council, you guys weren't happy, it's like, oh, wait, once. You know, the commissioners are in charge of the building, so we did what we thought was best, because it is on demolishing it. And then I'm hearing that we needed permission on that, which I don't think that is really IC code, but, you know, whatever. We're just trying to do the best for the county.
Yeah, well, and we're not saying you have to have our permission to tear down the jail, but you gotta have our approval for the funding. And so we need a better communication between commissioners and the council right now. Just like I read about Petersburg wanting some land given to them over Petersburg for solar panels. You know, they're already in the TIF district, and Petersburg's getting all that tax money now. We wouldn't get one dime on that assessment for all those.
So you're saying that if the county sold them that property, it's in the TIF district?
Yes.
Okay. So Covington, I'm hearing Covington is looking into having a TIF area. So again, no one from the county goes to their public hearings to argue. I understand TIF. I don't know how much of it, you know, the rest of you understand the impact that when cities and towns go after TIF, that affects what money we get in the county in general, because the growth, obviously, we're missing out on that. You know, the schools don't even understand it, the townships don't understand it. And when the city of Battlefield went into theirs, and the clerk treasurer was like, well, this won't affect you, and I go, the heck it won't. My deputy at the time had to set up every single parcel and all that, so yes, it did affect me. And I ended up doing their TIF neutralization because the attorney they hired would not do it. He would drive his feet for months. And he had stuff, you know, at the time, but it does affect the county, you know, because it's less money in county general, health, Q Bridge, Q development. You guys should understand that. So whenever someone is wanting more TIF property, you might want to go to double hearings to fight it.
They're still gonna vote for it because it benefits them. So legislation's gotta be done to protect the county on these TIF districts, because it's just costing us millions.
Property going to the solar. I guess I wasn't aware that that little bit was in the TIF. And so, I mean, it was just brought to our attention at the meeting. We didn't really vote on anything. It was just brought to our attention. Yeah, it's gonna have to be rethought. Why didn't we put in solar when we put in the jail? I question that. That would have been, I know Connersville High School, they have solar right there by their school, and on Sunday days, they can walk the solar grid. And they save thousands of dollars. But, you know, if we're gonna do one, maybe we want to end up doing a room, I don't know. But, I mean, you have a valid point.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody have anything? You want to make any changes? You ready to vote on this budget?
I have something else.
Okay.
Once again, I have asked for ratings for my staff, and I know that you all do the best that you can, but I just want to bring it to your attention because I see that it's not being approved at the rate that I have asked. And when I do the math, I have one supporter who has been here for 18 years, and she's making $12 an hour. I work it out. The others who have been here for 1, 6 plus, 1, 5 plus, and they're barely at 8 to be sort of part-time staff supporters. party. I lost Diane, as you all know, Warren County First Unit. There a couple of years ago, for a letter caseload, just as an example, our court caseload here is 140% of what one court should have. And I'm not whining about that. My staff does great. We do a good job. Warren County is at 51%. And she went up there and immediately got a $3,000 raise. And works much less. Our county pays 83 people the lowest of any of our surrounding counties. And they could go to Montgomery County right now, have a 40% decrease in the caseload, because we're right at 100%. I can go for 40,000. I know that you all are trying very hard to keep all of the administrative people that are around the same level here. But I would ask that you consider the case where they stay as late as I need them to. They come in as early as I need them to. They rarely get lunch. They work on Saturdays. They have laptops. They work at home and they ask for compensation. And I try to do as much as I can. You know, we do close a little bit early on on Fridays, and I tell them you can leave at 1 because that's your 35 hours a week. They also pay. You just have, they don't ever ask me to have all they do it. I don't know how much longer I'm going to do this. I just would ask them to consider. They can go to McDonald's right now, quite frankly, and think about what they're making here. They can go to Banjo in Cartersville and make more than they're making here. So this is not just so people walking off the street job and do it. Here, it takes knowledge. It really does. Not saying it takes anything away from the other courthouse jobs. There are some that are busier than others, and this is what it is. We don't have your time to consider it. I would ask that you reconsider that. We try very hard. I try very hard to just walk the grants and all fun things. I feel like, given the time that I've been here, that I've been fairly successful in doing that. And I will continue to do that to try to supplement some of the things that we have reimbursed the county. But if there's any little room here, if we can talk about, hey, what do you need from me? But I got to go back to these ladies.
Well, we did bring that up last month about your employees, and the agreement was we just can't. We got everybody, and we had to do the same for everybody, but we also have the auditor's office is working on a plan for longevity, like some of the other counties have. And we're going to look at that once they get those figures together and to reward employees who stay longer. So
is that money in the budget for this year?
no, that money, because that hasn't been brought to us, but it'll have to be an additional.
So we can bring it to you for the committee. Is that correct?
Yes. There's-
Dudley, Brenda, and Colleen. So what you're telling me is that you want me to go back upstairs and tell these women. Again, I'm not taking away from any offices, but yet again, I have to tell them. Another office, they get exactly the same salary. And probably will have a lot less. That's what I'm not saying every office, we just know. And look, I'll tell you, I mean, one of my staff worked in another office. And she came back upstairs because I think she was bored. And it's hard for me to, not every job is created the same. I would like, I'm not taking away from you, Dudley, but are you all on the same page with this? I've never heard you do this quiet. Come on. If you are, I mean, tell me, everyone's in agreement that everyone in the building should be paid the same?
What was, I mean, it was a vote last month, right? We discussed.
Yeah, we voted at
Yeah,
some point to make them the same.
That we, yes, we weren't going, it was a vote, I believe it was 7-0 for
To
yours.
make them the same,
To not do a higher salary for your employees compared to the others, that they had to be 3% like everyone else.
so I'm just trying to wrap my head around again. Where I have an administrative assistant come in at the same level as her predecessor, who had been here for 4 years.
And I think that's why the longevity was brought up, because of that, because I used to work in the courthouse for many years. I understand what you're talking about, and I know that there are certain offices, they are not that busy. And when you're running ragged in your own office, and you're gonna pay the same amount of dollars, but you keep on doing it. And that's where I think longevity would possibly help. And council, you know, their thing is, they don't feel like just because your office, you should be getting paid this much, they're giving you the same increase that the others are getting. They're still getting more than the first, the deputies.
The other option is to have set wage levels and you hire in at this level and then people are here longer, they get more money. Well, then you also get the people saying, well, I'm doing the same job as she is and she's getting $2,000 more. But I mean, that's the way it is in the world. In the public or private sector is, you know, you're hired at a certain level and the people who have been here longer get more money. So we have two options. We either do a pay scale or we do a longevity.
Well, I think that's where we might benefit from the salary study. I mean, that's what I see in other counties is that the salary, whether it be starting or continuing, be commensurate with the position and not just, hey, you're all administrative staff for each office.
And that was considered with camera runs, but I think for cost wise, we were going to be spending like $30,000 to $50,000 just to do that study. And we felt at the time that money would be spent more wisely if we consider maybe longevity or something, but that never got done. I don't think it really was pushed. I know I presented to the council at one time years back, and at the time I don't feel like they had the funds then to do that. But like I said, we're losing some good employees that have been with the county for many, many years going elsewhere because when you start in, you're getting paid the same amount. Even though the handbook says you don't have to pay them 100%, we still do it.
Which is great for people to start, but
Right.
and that's, I guess where my pessimism is that we talked about this longevity pay probably 4 years ago, and we're still at the same point.
Still talking about
Yeah, we haven't done anything.
I've never seen the plan given to me since I've been on the council.
I don't know.
I presented one
I asked-
to the council.
I asked last week for committee to be formed because I did this study and I put all the employees together and here's a service and 3 different ways of fitting longevity. And I had to set in a file on my desk to talk about. And I thought we were going to talk about before budget hearings and nothing ever got brought up about it. So I have the study done. It's a matter of me laying it out on the table. And I think Brenda last week had said
We went through
maybe.
the figures, and it was gonna be probably $200,000 thereabouts that would do the longevity
Well,
at one time.
Yes. See, we're from
Every
about
year.
180
Every year, that's
to
basically-
480,000, depending on what way you want to take it.
Mhm.
But
And again, there was 3 different ways you could take it.
And if I can just say on behalf of all of the county employees, whether it's court, whether it's emergency services, I don't know that we have, you know, there were so many of our employees that could just stay home in the last 2 years. I'm not working, I don't know anybody that we have to do that, and you know, they kept coming every day when it was so tumultuous. I think it's important that they understand their appreciation, and you know, however we do it. And I understand that you all have to make the math work, and I get that. But when we do this for them, they don't feel appreciated. It's tough. When we say, oh, we're gonna do that longevity, you know, bonus, and then we keep telling them, we keep telling them. Because I know we talked about it a couple of times before,
when I came in here about this. Because I have a salary study for my position, so I'm in a better position. But it's just so easy to say, we're going to do this, and then budget's done, we can talk about it.
So the only thing that the county has is, AIC has a back book, so they do look at other counties to see what they're getting paid. There's some smaller units that are getting paid more money than our county, not overall, just certain departments. And we kind of go by that, we've not really sat down and looked at the longevity, or even, it was mentioned a few years ago on health insurance. If you don't get the health insurance, could maybe we give that person, X amount of dollars, and I don't know what X amount of dollars would be legal to give. I asked Keystone, but then we never quite got there. See what I mean? No dollar amount is really good. It's for us to calculate to see if we can even afford to do it.
Last week, we discussed maybe Brenda and you, and the auditor, on this committee. And I'll give you everything I have and how I went about it. I talked to HR about all this. I got a list of every single county employee, and I went through their years of service and broke it all down. It's all broke down, ready to go. It's just a matter of saying, this is what we
Is
want to
there
do.
a way we could meet together towards the end of the week and sit down and discuss it?
I can't, I gotta take Lisa to Houston for doctor appointments,
So
so,
about next week.
yeah, I can make it next week.
You just let me know.
Some days, and then just.
Say 19 to whatever.
So let me ask you this, from my perspective. If you adopt them at the higher salary for me, and I somehow am able to fund it through court services, that way I don't have to have anything approved. What can I do here to get them there, but I don't want to come back and ask for additional appropriation. There are more things I can ask for on bended knee, but I know it's going to be a headache once you adopt it.
No, we can do a salary ordinance change. I mean, we just did one today for 2020,
They
so.
don't do their salary ordinance.
Yeah, we're not doing the salary ordinance till next month. We're just doing budget.
Right, but I mean, if the dollar amount increases, that's not going to be a headache for you all.
No, not on the salary ordinance, no. Because if it's grant, it can be salary ordinance, yeah.
But, and from your perspective, I'll help however I can. Just keep it all out there.
Okay. Do we have anything else? We're ready to start? Yeah, okay.
You know, Dudley, I also think, I've been down that line before. We had a new person coming in, like same dollar person been there 10 years. Kind of sour note. I mean, you guys would do the same thing here on the state.
We've been through the full round of this stuff. Back when I started, there was 3 different. I mean, when you list everybody in February, you go through and you see $30 or $40 difference between pay on every employee down, and you knew that was either the position or because there was a newest, and it was a packing order.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went through with everybody on the same, every second deputy, every first deputy, was at the same level.
Yeah.
And then we got where we are today. And, you know, if jobs have changed, we've added to that, for that little extra stipend or whatever, not stipend, part of the wages in the check for extra jobs. So we've been full, we've already, in the 40 years I can remember, we've been in full game.
And the trouble with stipend, we kind of went through, it was nice to get that $500, but then the next year, if you just
Yeah.
force that into their salary or their wages or something, it looks like they got cut pay. So we kind of went away from that. So I mean, I'm liking, the longevity, because then those that have been here longer, maybe they're making a little bit more than a newbie coming on board.
And I'm told we're the only county in the area that does not have longevity yet.
And I know there's different levels. I mean, I don't think any of us are really asking for the $5 for just something. Have a maximum amount or something. I think that would, improve the morale, somewhat.
Sure.
So you do appreciate it. And I know, a lot of us do.
Well, it's like the road guy. If I'm getting a new road guy that does not have the academy, I don't want to start him out the same as my sergeant. Now, that's just a side phase. So, I mean, we're actually looking at different kind of different routes.
Yeah, I saw that.
I would also ask you to not get into that mindset, and I'll say this more, but, oh, it's a smaller county, we don't have to pay as much as other counties we should. Because that's, well, we should, and we should more so, because every one of our people here are asked to be on so many boards, are asked to fill the shoes of so many other people, where that's a separate person in the county. I hear often, Phoenix County pays 50,000. Well, that's a bigger county. They have more money. They don't do our board report here. They don't do that. Wear as many hats as somebody in the service office or in the reporter's office, where we're constantly asking, will you be on this board? Will you do this? And they don't get any compensation for that. So I just ask that you think about that the next time you look, whether we do the salary study or whatever. We can compare ourselves to your county, because our people do more. They wear a lot more hats than that.
Do you have a job description for each person that does your job? Do they require an education to do certain things in your job?
All of my staff does continuing education every year, and a lot of times on their own. The job description in Minneapolis. I don't require a college degree, but I'm not of the mindset of that.
We see Garth does. Garth does, and he has people since it has to be going to the academy. Garth as a school, we've even implemented a program back years ago. We pay for the EMT program. So I've not heard since I've been on the council that anybody has a job description. So if somebody gets hired down here in some other office, they're going on at the same rate. Right. When you just hired the secretary, Rusty, did that secretary come in at the same rate? That when you had one that not be able to beat it.
Actually, their secretary put in that money.
And when you hired that secretary, did you think that she had to do X, Y, Z before you even considered that individual?
Well, the biggest problem has always been back in the past, and Jim Lee has been here 4 years. He just said, so that's for him. But every time our guys got a raise, you raise the insurance, so they lost them. And that is a moralizing factor that has ruined attitudes throughout the county. Every time they got a decent pay raise, their insurance went up. And it came out of their pocket, and it always cost more. So raises that I've known about in the past have always been a joke. With me, I don't care about the salary right now, but I do for those guys that are driving this truck. They were out till 2:30 this morning, on the street, and in the pouring down rain. Half the equipment didn't work, half of it did. It just gets upsetting and frustrating. You go back and tell the guys, I'm sorry, we've got 3% this time, and we're gonna raise your insurance 5%.
I will
That's
say,
the part
if the council wants to see the job descriptions, they're in the auditor's office. But I think it's up to each department to keep updating those, because things change throughout the years. And I think there are some things in the handbook that need to be updated, because things are changing in the ambulance department, things are changing, in highway, sheriff's department. So it's a continue update. And so it's a burden on everybody actually to make sure. But if the council, would want to see those job descriptions, they're in there, a binder. We had to have it put together. That's where Kent Irwin's helped us. And that's when we had to get the new handbook. We had to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to do that. And they do have a study, but we chose not to go forward with that because I think we thought we would maybe do something on our own, but we didn't, We had good intentions, but just didn't do anything. And so here we are again, each department is fighting for their department, and we're a small county, but then you got Warren County, they're different people get hurt. And everybody was just amazed that Fountain County is the only county in the whole state that doesn't get hurt, you know? So yes, the 3%, that is at least something, and that's been going on for years, so. I'll shut it up.
I know, well, you look at Warren County too, and their tax rate's a lot higher, and then you hear the people up there griping because they're paying a lot more taxes than we are. So do we raise our tax rates and to pay for all this?
So, and that's
And
where-
then everybody's gonna be mad at us.
Yes,
if we-
and that's where I came to the council when we reestablished our raising everything for Cuban Bridge. My hope was that Cuban Bridge was raised just a little bit so that we can be ready for making our payments for federal, when we went after a federal bridge. And I know in the past, we raised it 0.005, and that's gonna bring in about $40,000. So.
And that was for the covered, or for the
Cuban
covered bridge.
Yeah, to help out with the covered bridge. So knowing that we, the commissioners are going after $500,000, what we're gonna have to come up with in 2027. Now, prior to that, we'll have to have some funds, but I just want to make sure that we do have the funds available in Cuban Bridge. And so talking to Dudley, I said, I want to reestablish this because we're going to start going after some federal funding. So that's my opinion. So I don't know what it's going to get raised to, because Colleen's not going to really know until she starts on 4D forms. And
Okay.
When they find out their salaries this year, people with 3% raise, it's going to be dollars less when they look at it. So, that's right.
Yes, because we had an extra pay last year.
if there's an extra pay.
Right, but I mean, as I go upstairs and think about this, I'm just.
But they look at the salary ordinance, so like, there was two lines, there was the 20 and then the extra pay, so they'll see they're getting a
So they need
raise.
to
but-
look at the one column, and then the
Yes.
pay increase should be 3% based off of that.
Okay, we ready to vote on this? So the changes is another EMT, another paramedic, and another deputy. Otherwise, it's as presented. Any-
I'm sorry. Did I hear on us, and our part, we got 1 minute or didn't?
We had to cut your budget 1.3 million because you're only gonna get 2.7 million next
I
year.
just checked.
Okay,
Checked. So we're not getting any addition. Okay.
not until we see what your funds are,
I
so.
have a question. on
Yeah.
the electric finance. So are you going to pay anybody out of the highway, how that highway restricted?
Well, there is a lineup. I don't know how those funds are
Okay.
set
I
up,
know-
so.
I know Warren County does that, and I didn't know if that would help, the highways, but.
I have talked to Stacy a little bit about it, and I talked to an auditor in the state from Stark County. She used to be a highway person. And you can pay some salaries from MVH restricted, but it has to be for road preservation only. You can't pay a sign crew out of it, you can't pay overtime, and you cannot pay a bridge crew out of it.
So if Rusty designated a person, then his job is just road preservation, whatever. He could get, I mean, how many people are we talking, because there's over $1 million in MVH restricted. And I just feel like MVH, it's just from distribution to distribution, there's really not a lot of balance, carried on there.
Plus, we gotta have that 330 some thousand dollar match for where you went after the funds.
But community crossing.
Community crossing, yes, so. Okay, so you got a whole page here, but Colleen says we can get this down to just 6
Really
motions.
quick.
Yeah, okay,
I got something to say really quick.
Oh,
They were
okay.
talking about that trail, and that's gonna fall in Parks and Recs. Am I correct in thinking that the maintenance on that section of trail that the county belongs to the county? Am I right in thinking that? For the funds to maintain that? section come out of Parks and Recs?
No, I would think they're county foundation or when they do the maintenance. Yeah, they take care of all the trails now.
We just have the lights, correct?
Yes, and actually, I need to find out about the mowing stuff, because I just see a lot of people have made comments on Facebook about the gentleman Teagarden, I think. He's been doing all the mowing and trimming down there. And I said, we've got money budgeted for gas that we should.
So I don't think we park for it, or they just not have access. Before, they've just been continuing to do that. So do we need to go back to forming a board so that we can have a communication of what's going on?
Well, I think in that commissioner's appointments, the
Yeah,
park board,
and I know
so.
I talked to Zach Thomas about it. Everybody's just kind of now here and there, and so I don't think anybody knows who's supposed to be doing what. So I'll talk to Kent, and if it says commissioners, I need to appoint to make sure that things are being done, and just like that tea garden guy. You know, he was volunteering because he saw a need that something needed to be cleaned up, and he just did it.
Yeah, so.
Then where's that budget additional? I don't have that.
Budget additional. No, this is just for me. This is, yeah, just to what we need a motion to adopt the county general 2022 budget as presented. Kelly?
Which
Second.
was the amount? That's all I want. Here we go.
That's gonna change.
Yeah, it's gonna
Okay, I'm
change.
with you.
Okay,
With you.
so is there a second to Kelly's motion? Okay, Tom, all those in favor? 7-0. And then we can have a motion to adopt the 2022 budgets for county highway, Cume Bridge, and local roads and streets. Okay, Jim McKee, Jim Lee. All those in favor? 7-0. These are ones that have tax dollars. That's why we have to be separate. A motion to adopt the 2022 budgets for the health department, local health maintenance, and health department trust account, and the PHEP grant. So a motion for that. Dale, second. Jim McKee, all those in favor? 7-0. And then a motion to adopt the 2022 budget for Cume Capital Development. Motion for that. Jim Lee, second. Tom, all those in favor? Motion to adopt the 2022 budget for the reassessment fund and plat book fund. So motion for that. Kelly, second. Jim McKee, all those in favor? Second. And then the motion would be to adopt the seated economic development 2022 budget, the 2022 budget for statewide E911, the 2022 budget for the county alcohol and drug, adult probation, WCRCC probation grant, JCAP administrators grant, and CASA grant. Motion to adopt 2022 budget for the pretrial diversion, prosecutor title 4D and infraction deferral. The 2022 budget for LEPC, 2022 budget for county general maintenance fund and the county farm fund. 2022 budget for the lit public safety fund, and 2022 budget for accident report, county misdemeanor funds, and a 2022 budget for special purpose fund of new jail. So motion to adopt those. Jim Lee, Tom second. All those in favor? Okay, so all that we have. Okay, stop the tax rate.
This. because it takes so long to learn.
Yeah.
Made those changes, that'll change the rates. They'll be the same, and then there's the city.
Okay, and we're changing the health department down to 1, okay, 5, and then we're putting 0.01 into general and economic, okay.
That rate.
So, okay. Yeah, okay. Sorry, we have motion to adopt the 2022 budget for solid waste management. Jim McKee, second. Kelly, all those in favor? Okay. The ordinance resolution for appropriations and tax rates. This looks like it's 0.6794. Is there a motion to approve that?
What was that point, what?
6794.
What was it before?
Last year it was 0.5734.
So another.
What was? Okay.
Come on. Whatever it is, it's going up.
Yeah.
PLGF,
Well, they look at your budget numbers and they propose the numbers, so.
we have to have that
That
to
would-
maintain.
Yeah, to maintain our budget.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, is there a second? Dale, all those in favor? 7 out. Yep,
On my budget, I was looking at, I have a copy here, and I have this question, and you said it was at 1.419.
uh-huh.
Did you guys drop out the safety vests?
Yes, Jim thought you could get some grants for that.
Trying to lower.
Right, I'm just saying that there's no money out there.
It was.
Yeah, well, actually, there was October 1st for a lot of way, but we had been looking quite a bit for grant money, and there's nothing available for safety vests for EMS. Law enforcement, I've been working with Terry on that, and he can get them, but I can't get them. So I just curious, I mean, I'll figure something out, I just want to figure out where we're getting this from. So-
Yeah.
I'm just asking. Brought you in for anything like we were in your work.
Everything
There, I thought you were something to do.
How much
Discretionary money.
I really think that we've been here a while. What she's saying, she has a legitimate,
Yeah.
and, but my point of it is, how the hell do we
I was just
know
trying to figure out what the difference was.
who does
When you look at
in
the-
the auditor's office than somebody's recorder's office? And there's a job description.
Uh-huh.
We had that 2 years ago with our commissioners. It was out in blacktop. And they were getting the same money somebody said in the office, wasn't it? So should that be, even if you're committed?
Yeah, we gotta look at that. I mean, there's gotta be some changes, I
You
know,
know, there was another thing that the reason why they always think, well, we're the richest county, we're the richest county in the state. I don't know about that. But my point of view is, I don't just say, well, these people are hanging on to the money.
It's only one to do solid waste. Or
Yeah, we don't have,
finding.
we don't have to do those anymore with the cities and towns, all that.
And then. there's
And we did that.
Okay, so that's it. I got to check. Haven't gotten any.
I think we appropriated enough, but if we're not, we'll have to do it. I thought we put in 3 vehicles, but, and now we may need 4.
Know and not know, but I had to order 22s ago. GM shut off their deadline for 22s. And 23s are gonna have to be ordered by May of 22. That's how it's gonna be a year eventually. You're gonna have to order 20 January 22 to get them January 23.
Well, and you think you'll be able to get that grant again?
Larry and I are gonna work on it.
Okay,
So she gets
but,
three
but
done.
I think we did appropriate for 3. Okay. I do want to tell you on this sheet, I know a lot of people have been saying that they look at that financial report and see $25 million. But don't forget, $25 million is the jail money to pay the jail. We got, there's a lot of, community corrections. They've got a lot of grant money in there. So this sheet I've given you here, that there's only 8 funds that we have control of. So if you add those up, that's all we have, additional funds. So.
If nothing goes
Yeah.
If we're not doing this for a year yet, we were brought in $250,000. That is because how the county invests. Those 2 deals down there, we're looking at 18 months. But they're going down. Take over.
Yeah, absolutely. And that will help at the end of the year. Our county general might be more than what we're projecting it's going to be, which will give us more money to help.
Yes. And it's actually true, you guys will work with that. Because I know you guys have done that.
Right.
You've got right.
Anybody else?
A year and a half ago, I saw an economic report. This COVID is going to kick. You're not going to receive as much money, but more money going out.
Does that clarify the salary ordinance? or something like that?
Heard this,
So we
you were on
increase
line.
the protocol and-
Yes, and that needs to be done next month so get with Colleen to make sure our salary order, that's why we're another month, so we can have a month to look
That's
at.
where we're at. We're
Yes.
just doubling up.
Right. We did increase that, but the budget has to be approved at this month's meeting, but the salary ordinance, we have actually until December, but so make sure that gets corrected. Okay, anybody else? Okay, is there a motion to adjourn? Okay, second. All in favor? Long meeting. Thank you, everybody.
Hallelujah.